And welcome back to OutCast. My next guest is a bona fide Republican who has Rick Perry's presidential aspirations directly in his crosshairs. He has placed a full-page ad in this week's Austin Chronicle seeking people with dirt on the Texas governor to come forward. Robert Morrow, welcome to OutCast.
Glad to be here, Stephen.
How are you?
Doing great.
So let's talk about this ad. You care if I read it?
Please do.
All right. So this is a full-page ad on the page 14th of this week's Austin Chronicle. If you haven't already picked one up, you might want to consider that. It says in giant font, "Have you ever had sex with Rick Perry? Are you a stripper, an escort, or just a young hottie impressed by an arrogant, entitled governor of Texas? Contact Cash," that's C-A-S-H, "and we will help you publicize your direct dealings with the Christian buzzword spouting family values hypocrite and fraud." And it's paid for by the Committee Against Sexual Hypocrisy, which is Cash, right? And it's got your name and your phone number and your email address, which is familyvalueshypocrite@gmail.com. And then at the bottom it says, "Offer not valid for enabling wives wearing Hillary Clinton boots." And then note to gay people, "If you know the truth about Rick Perry, please quit covering for him." Is that it? Is it?
That is it in a nutshell.
All right. So what inspired you to write this ad and put it in the Chronicle?
Well, Stephen, Rick Perry, his entourage, and I like the same women. How can I be more clear than that?
That okay? All right. Those are nice, wholesome girls. Is that what you mean?
They're nice girls. They're attractive women. Let's put it that way. A few years ago, I met a young lady, a stripper here in Austin, Texas, and I said, "Well, tell me about Rick Perry," because I sometimes ask him that. And she said, "Well, about Rick Perry. Well, let me tell you that story." One night, I was in the club, and I was on center stage, and a guy comes up to me, and he says, "Here's $500. That's just for starters. That's just for coming with me." And because $500 is about what a dancer would make in a whole night with table dances and tips, she said, "Sure." And so she got into her regular clothes and went with the man, one of Rick Perry's friends, and she was delivered to Rick Perry. And then they started playing around. I'm not going to be graphic here. I know we're on family radio. And I think she was trying to, give him a Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah, be careful here, okay?
Oh, well, you asked me how I ran the ad.
Okay.
All
right, well, let's just say that she was intimate,
or
she told you.
She was trying to be intimate with Rick Perry, and here's were her direct words to me. "I think he was too coked up to perform or to get it up." Ooh. That's what she said.
And now, to be fair, this is what somebody else told you
directly
that they had.
Correct.
And so this is in court. This would be called hearsay.
It wasn't hearsay to me because it was right to me.
Okay.
The reason she's so credible is because it wasn't in the context of a presidential campaign or even a gubernatorial campaign. They told me things in confidence, not knowing I'm a political activist, not knowing I hate Rick Perry's guts for other reasons. And then I came across another young lady who's had direct dealings with a member of Rick Perry's entourage. And what he told her was that when they go on the road, that Rick Perry gets the, quote, young hotties, that's in my ad, the young hotties, and they go back to Rick Perry's hotel room where they're literally having orgies and group sex, like maybe Rick Perry having sex on one bed with one woman, his friend having sex on another bed with another woman. And the second lady who told me this is very credible. She's educated. She knows her way around the Austin political world, and it blew my mind away. So,
was she a stripper too?
Well, she is a young lady. Let's put it this way: she's a young lady who knows the elite in Austin, Texas. I'll leave it at that. Okay. And so after hearing two of those, I said, "Wow, we've got a serious hypocrisy." The key word is hypocrisy, friends. Okay, it's not about somebody's personal sex life. It's about a man, Rick Perry, who was autographing Bibles in South Carolina last week, who wears his Judeo.
He was autographing Bibles in South Carolina.
Like, I wrote this. I might as well.
He's literally autographing
Dear
Bibles.
Dear Robert, I wrote this for you. Love, Rick Perry. Does he cross out Jesus' name when he does this?
I don't know if he does that. But obviously, as you know, living in Texas, Rick Perry runs his political campaigns with Judeo-Christian values as a center point. He was on stage in Houston a few weeks ago with some really extremist preachers, which brings me to my other story. Before I even ran this ad, I was contacted off the internet by a gay man here in Austin, Texas, who was incensed. And he says, you know what, seeing Rick Perry on that stage in Houston was more than I can take, because my ex's ex had sex with Rick Perry, had gay sex, years ago before he became governor. And
so that's definitely hearsay.
Definitely hearsay, but good hearsay, okay?
As far as hearsay, it's great.
Really, well,
it's golden.
Yeah, it's golden hearsay. And so what this guy's doing right now, his friend is a highly placed, executive with a nice job here in Austin, Texas. It's really hard to get strippers, escorts, young hotties, and closeted gay men to come forward. But my ad was a message to the community, which is this: quit covering for Rick Perry.
Well, so you bring up a really good point. Your sources are strippers and escorts and closeted gay men, people who deal in the underbelly of society, for lack of a better.
Sometimes, yeah.
What makes you feel like these people, that you've vetted these people enough to be able to come on the airways, and these are very significant allegations that you're making to somebody who is, I think right now, the front runner for the GOP nomination at this point.
Well, Stephen,
we'll see what happens after they listen to this show.
Stephen,
but what makes you feel like you've vetted these people enough that you can come on and say this stuff?
They've got credible stories. They told me things not in the context of a presidential race. And besides, here's a question for you: who are you going to believe? A stripper, a hooker, or a politician?
You make a good point.
That sounds like a really, you're setting me up for a good punchline.
You make a really good point. I'll have to.
Did they walk into a bar together?
With a Jew and a horse, and
we're getting close. I mean, we've got a couple of gay men, different gay men, working on their friends who they say, okay, it's hearsay, but I consider it very quality hearsay, that they've had sex with Rick Perry, and I'm sure. I would estimate there are many of them out there, and based on my dealings with strippers here in Austin and even young hotties and escorts, there's no doubt in my mind that Rick Perry is a rampaging bisexual adulterer.
Wow, that would make a great campaign bumper sticker. That's a bold charge,
Come on, guys. We're living here in Austin, Texas, and the gay rumors on Rick Perry, as you all know, as many of the listeners know, are voluminous, rampant, they're intense, and they will not go away. And so my message with that ad is real simple. Hey, folks, it's time to move past the hearsay stage, and it's time for, if there are people out there, if they're credible, if they have a legitimate story involving Rick Perry living life in the gutter, it's time for them to come forward.
So what kind of response have you had to the ad?
We've gotten hundreds of phone calls, over 100 emails. Of course, they're not all leads. A lot of it's media, because when I ran this, have you ever had sex with Rick Perry? It got picked up by Salon.com and by Huffington Post, the Washington Post. It went viral. It's in over 5,000 newspapers and blogs over the internet worldwide.
What about the conservative blogosphere? How are they treating this? Like a hot potato?
No, you have to understand this. There are a lot of conservatives, not just liberal Democrats, who know that Rick Perry is a complete fraud. Okay, he's got the Christian base fooled. To be honest, the media people who've talked with me, they believe my story. The Republican insiders definitely believe my story. It's just the poor, deluded, deceived Christian grassroots base that's being used by Rick Perry that doesn't know.
Wow. So you, let's go back. I said you're a bona fide Republican. So let's establish your Republican credentials.
Bona fides, sure.
Yeah. How long have you been active Republican?
Yeah,
activist?
I'm really a libertarian that operates inside the Republican Party. I was a delegate to the 3 Republican state conventions. That's very difficult to do, 2006, 2008, and 2010. I voted for Rick Perry in 1998, 2002, 2006. I'll never do it again. So I've been very active in GOP politics, no question about it.
So I'm guessing that you're supporting Ron Paul for president?
Of course.
Okay.
Great guy. He's been married to, I like his politics, and he's been married to Carol Paul for 50 years. And he said that my ad was silly. Well, see, I can understand that because Ron Paul is a great guy, been married to Carol Paul for 50 years. He doesn't run around with the same women that me and Rick Perry and his entourage do. So he wouldn't know.
So what kind of response have you gotten from other Republicans? Have you gotten any angry responses?
Well, the Perry bots don't like it, but, they have to understand they're being led by a false prophet. Can I give out my email address for anybody who wants to contact me?
Certainly.
If anybody wants to contact me, I can be reached at familyvalueshypocrite@gmail.com. That's familyvalueshypocrite@gmail.com. And I'll give you my personal phone number.
Are you sure you want to do that on the air?
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, yeah, you have it. It's on 16-point font right here in the Chronicle, so go ahead.
It's in the ad.
Yeah.
My phone number is 512-306-1510. If anybody has any questions or information, you're certainly welcome to contact me.
So you're not worried that some freak nut job is going to...
might get elected president like Rick Perry? Yes, I am worried about a freak nut job, closeted, rampaging, bisexual adulterer leading a parade of extremist preachers and militaristic neocons might be elected president. Yes, sir, Steve, I'm afraid.
Wow. So when did you first become disenchanted with Rick Perry to the point that you would do this?
Well, I voted for him in 2006, and I really didn't want to. I just voted for him out of party loyalty. Never do that again.
He was running against, was it Kay Bailey Hutchison in 2006?
No, he was running against Carol Keene Strayhorn and Kinky Freeman.
Oh, okay, that was the
three-way.
So
I voted for him. That's over with, though. And
what was the thing that turned you sour on Rick Perry?
Well, I haven't liked Rick Perry because of his toll road schemes, which are really a gargantuan taxing scheme. They're very debt leveraged. They're going to blow up one day. And when he tried to make every little 11-year-old girl in Texas take a mandatory HPV vaccine because his former chief of staff, Mike Toomey, is a lobbyist for Merck. So I got a problem with his crony capitalism and his statism. Aside from his so-called personal hypocritical life, but when I found out about the womanizing and these women were credible to me, that was the last straw. So it's time to go public and publicize this and get the word out.
So what's the next step for you from here?
There is no next step. If people know things relating to Rick Perry and the way he lives his double life in the gutter, which you've got to understand this. I'm not 99% sure that Rick Perry runs around with strippers, young hotties, and escorts. I'm 100% sure.
Wow. All right. Well, you want to give out your email address and phone number one more time?
Yeah, my email address is, you can also Google an article I wrote on Rick Perry. Okay. It's called Tea Party Fraud, Rick Perry is Political Herpes.
So you're a very subtle man, I see, Robert, aren't you?
Straight to the point, my friend.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Robert Morrow is a conservative Republican activist who is on a mission to find out dirt on anti-gay Republican presidential candidate Rick Perry. We'll be right back with some more OutCast right after this. Stay with us.